Hello there guys, Francis Gray here and welcome to my YouTube channel Joker Laugh. Today we are going to crack on with part 4 of the Moebius Models Grim Reaper build. Okay guys, so originally I wanted to try and wrap this build up in 3 videos. Each video is roughly about an hour. About 50 minutes really. So they're on my channel if you want to check those out. There'll be links to the other ones in the description below. So in part 1 we basically took the kit from a styrene form and built it up more or less, you know, that was the parts that are meant to be built. Part 2 was changing those parts to fit this new diorama. And then part 3 was applying base coats of paint on the Reaper, painting up the tombstones, painting up the tree, gluing them in place, and then adding some polyfiller as a top layer of snow, to appear as snow. We also went ahead and we changed the hourglass, which is this part here, which is supposed to go there. We changed that to a lantern, which I got from a different styrene kit, which was the Witch. Yeah, and I've put a work and flicker bulb in there. So this packet is just basically to protect it. So yeah, so once the battery's turned on, that will glow like a flame inside, so it should add a little bit of ambience to the piece. So yeah, so what to look forward to in this video? Well, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add more snow effect, or some more polyfiller leading up. So there's going to be snow on all these parts here leading up, just going to basically be more snow build up. We're going to be adding some snow scatter as well, so that's going to be quite exciting. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to finish the Reaper, we're going to paint him up. I'm also going to maybe try and incorporate the hourglass. I'm thinking about maybe, instead of this hand leaning down, I'm going to flip it around so it's out open, so it can be holding like the sands of time or something like that. And then we'll be taking off this protective clean film off the back, and then hopefully the piece will be finished. The only last bit after that will be add the nameplate. So yeah, so we might as well crack on. Okay guys, so we're going to get ready to add some more snow. So I've got my trusty polyfiller ready, and I've also gone ahead and I dry brushed some more of these twigs, these plastic ones. I'm not adding them exactly just as they are. Little parts will be cut off and added in different areas, but I do want the effect that it's all overgrown. So yeah, so we've got 3 of these to play with, and yeah, so let's get cracking. Okay guys, so now is probably a good opportunity to go in with some of these extra twigs. Okay guys, so we'll let that layer dry, and then we'll add another layer, but we'll concentrate more on the front parts. Okay guys, so for the next part I wanted to make the side itself a little bit more interesting. So I went ahead and I used a scalpel and I just cut out some very fine little chips. I don't know if they're showing up on the camera. So there's one here, here, and here. So yeah, it just gives it a little bit more of a aged old look. Now I'm thinking I'm quite liking this tone, this like brown tone. So I'm thinking about keeping this quite rusted. So I will be adding a little bit more to it, but this is a nice little undercoat for that. I would like to make these struts a little bit more interesting. So I got this little bit of cotton. So the idea is I'm going to snag it into a little hoop, put it on, put a little PVA glue on, and then wrap it around, and then just basically add a little tiny drop of super glue on top, just to keep it in place, and hopefully that'll make it a little bit more interesting. Okay, so obviously that'll need to dry, and then I'll clip off the other ends, but for the most part that's looking pretty good. So I'll go ahead and I'll do the same for the bottom one. So yeah, so we'll go ahead and leave that dry, and then I'll cut off the excess parts. Okay guys, so for the next part I want to go in with the airbrush, and I want to add some darker tones to his robes. So yeah, so I'm just going to use a slightly watered down acrylic black. This was made by Badger. Okay guys, so for the next bit I'm going to go in and I'm going to add some dry brush highlights using medium grey titled Flintstone. Okay guys, so just about to start the second coat of dry brush medium grey. Okay guys, so as you can see there, the second coat of dry brush is now dry, so the Reaper's looking a lot more detailed. So now we're going to go in with a mushroom grey, same again, dry brush, but instead of doing the whole piece, I'm only highlighting the very edges, so it'll be the bottom of the robe, the arm parts, the bottoms of these, where it overhangs, like a cape, I suppose, shoulder area, and then the front of the mask. I might add the odd tiny little bit around some of the main seams. I don't know yet, but yeah, for the main part, it's just going to be the ends.
Okay, so as you can see there, just add that little bit more of a dimension to the end frayed bits. So now that that's done, we can probably go ahead and start working on some of the bones.
Okay guys, so for the next part I want to go ahead and I want to add some lighter tones to the bones. So obviously that features the main skull, his left hand and his right hand holding the sai. What I usually do when I come to painting skulls and bones is I usually start with a darker colour, like a darker brown, which is already on there. And then I go over lightly in dry brush a more flesh colour. So this is a Humbrol acrylic number 61. Leave that to dry, and then once that's dried I then go in with some lighter tones like mushroom greys and stuff like that, basically just to give it more of a bone feel. So yeah, so for the next part let's crack on with the flesh colour. Okay guys, so while we're waiting for the first layer of flesh colour to dry, now is probably a good opportunity to do the same but with a metal colour for the hourglass and for the lantern. Okay guys, so now that we're waiting for all those other key parts to dry, now is a good opportunity to start working on the rope or the belt, I suppose. So same again, I'm just going to go over it with surface primer to give it a nice brown undercoat, and I'll also be doing the Reaper's belt on here as well. Okay guys, so we're going to add more snow effect. So I went ahead and I made a few more of these and I trimmed them into smaller twigs. So same as like we did with the back row, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add more to the front part. Same again, just going to use polyfiller, just pop it on there, stick them in place, try and make it look more overgrown and atmospheric, and then just let it dry. Okay guys, so while we are waiting for the polyfiller to dry, now is probably a good opportunity to go ahead and add the Grim Reaper logo nameplate. So I'm just going to add it on with some hot glue. Hopefully it works. If not, it'll have to be as epoxy. But the idea is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to score on the back in a zigzag pattern, and then I'm going to mark out where I think is nice and level, nice and straight, and then I'm going to do a few scratches on where the wood bevels out, and then I'll put some hot glue on, and then hopefully the little crosses will help it stick to the base. So yeah, so might as well crack on with that. Okay guys, so that seems to have worked. I've got a couple of stringy bits here, never mind. So yes, that seems to have worked. We'll leave that to fully dry, and then we'll crack on with the Reaper. Okay guys, so as you can see there, both parts to the rope have been given a base coat. Now I'll go ahead and I'll give that a quick dry brush of a lighter brown to basically just bring out all the little nooks and crannies of the rope. The hourglass is looking a lot better. I've given it 2 coats of that gunmetal. I'm quite liking the look of it so far. I still will work a little bit more on it though. And the lantern is same again. It's been given 2 coats, but I want it to be a little bit more darker and dingier, so I'm going to go ahead with some different dry brush colours for that. And then for the next part, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give a third coat of Humbrol 61 flesh colour to all the bone parts. Okay guys, so for the next part I want to go ahead and I want to add a little bit more of a rust effect to the blade. I might also add a little bit to the lantern and to the hourglass. So with that I'm going to use this, which is supposed to be for airbrush paint, but it's titled Rust Colour. Basically I just put a tiny little bit of it on the palette, and then I got a really thick stipple brush. There's a reason why I chose that. So basically just mix it around, and then I'm going to dab off the excess, and I just want to do the same
I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but that looks a lot more rustier now. So do the back side now. A little highlight to the top fastening because it makes no sense why that was rusted and that isn't. Let's see if we can do a little bit more to the hourglass. Okay, so we'll go ahead and leave that to dry.
Okay guys, so for the next part, as you can see there, some of this poly fella, mimicking snow, is a little bit on the rough side. So I'm just basically going to go ahead with a nail file and I'm just going to try and smooth it out a little bit. Okay guys, so for the next part I want to feed these wires in through that hole and I'm going to styrene glue this connection piece to the lantern into the hole that we drilled. Okay guys, so I had to cut away there, apologies for that. Basically this was proven a bit stubborn and he wouldn't go in the hole. Basically how I got around that was I just took the end of the scalpel and I just carefully eroded away both sides of the connection hole. Made it a little bit wider and then it could house that and the wires. The top wires didn't want to go in all the way, so I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but basically you can see them just sticking out. But if I'm truthfully honest, once painted brown, that'll look like it's just a fastening that connects to his belt. So it's a happy mistake, I suppose. So yeah, I went ahead and I checked it. The flicker bulb is still working fine. So yeah, so I'll paint this little bit brown and we're ready to crack on with the rest of the build. Okay, so now that the lantern is now glued in place, now we can crack on with the rope or the rope belt. Okay, and we'll just leave that to dry. Okay guys, so for the next part I'm going to go in and I'm going to give a light dry brush to all the bones with mushroom grey. Same again, just put a little bit on a kitchen towel and then wipe off the excess and then just lightly go over the top. Okay, so for the next part I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a tiny little hint of silver to some of the edges on the metallic parts. So that's the hourglass, the lantern and the blade. Basically just to give across like a few little scratches, I suppose. Okay guys, so for the next part I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add some snow scatter. So the best way to do that is just with general ordinary PVA glue. a brush with a little bit more of a stipple end to it, and then once that's been covered, we're going to go ahead and we're going to sprinkle on some of this stuff. Now this is like a fake snow. You can get proper ones from model shops, but during the Christmas period you can usually find these in shops where they're supposed to be just you sprinkle it on wherever you're making, or like on a windowsill to put some decorations on. So this was actually this only cost me $2.99 for a big massive pack, where if you bought it from a model shop, like $2.99 would buy you like a little bag or something. So yeah, so it's worth looking out for stuff like that. So yeah, so I'll crack on and give this a coating of PVA glue. I'm only going to add PVA glue to the parts where snow's accumulated, like the top of the gravestones, the floor, and then the tops of the trees, because obviously we don't want it all in the areas that are, you know, exposed with detail. So yeah, so I'll crack on with that and show you the finished results. Okay guys, so now that that's been given a generous coating of PVA, let's go ahead and add some snow scatter. Okay guys, so we'll go ahead and we'll leave that a couple of hours to dry, and then we'll carefully brush off or shake off the excess. Okay guys, so we've left this a couple of hours to dry. So now I'm going to go in with a fixed stipple brush and I'm going to carefully take off the excess. Okay guys, so as you can see there, it's looking a lot more snowy now. The snow scatter is glued nicely in place. For the next stage, I might give it just a tiny little blast of matte varnish to basically just seal the top part of the snow. I'll have to protect this bottom part here of the picture because I don't want to get no varnish on that, so it might knack the picture, or the bottom of the picture. So I'm going to protect that bit, and I'm going to give it a light little coating, and then I'm going to leave it probably a good probably like 10 hours. Right, so as you can see there, the snow's now nice and steady, but yet it still looks like it's crisp and unspoilt. I went ahead and I give the outside of the black part of the base another coat of black, just because of all the polyfiller had stained it and made it more of like a greyish colour. So yeah, I went round and I repainted all the sides. So yeah, so the only thing that's left is to carefully remove this, and I think we're done.
Okay guys, so for the next part I'm going to go in with some light shades of brown and a few little tiny areas of black watercolour on some of the bones, basically just to give across like a weathered effect, I suppose, or a bit of shading.
Okay guys, so now after we've added some watercolour shading to the skull, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna dry brush a little bit of acrylic black in all the dark spots, that's the nostrils and the two eye sockets, and then I'm gonna give a light dry brush of a mushroom grey over the teeth. Now, the next stage is to go ahead and attach the hands. Okay guys, so I went ahead and I glued the sand timer into the Reaper's left hand. Now coincidentally that hand fits perfect to the bottom of that sand timer. So all I had to do was just basically fit it in there and then add a little bit of contact cement glue here, on this little finger here, and then on the inside of the palm. So yeah, that worked out really well. I'm really happy with that. The reason why I went ahead and I glued this first is because when I attached this to the Reaper, I didn't want to then have to fumble about and try and get the sand timer in place, because it's more likely to break. And then also, now that I know what shape it is, I can now put that inside, glue it, and then keep it at a straight level, so it's not down there somewhere, or it's not back up here. It's bang on correct. So yeah, so that's going to be the next phase, or the next stage is going to be glue that in place, and then glue the Reaper blade in place. Okay guys, so as you can see there, it's nice and glued in place, so all that's left now is to glue the side. Okay guys, so as you can see there, I went ahead and I added glue to the two connection holes, so that arm is now glued in place, and I glued the bottom of the side to the bottom of his robes. Basically, it's not supposed to go there, but there does seem to be a natural groove that it fits into. I don't know if that was the sculptor's original idea, I don't know, but it seems to fit perfect, so I thought, why not use it? So yeah, so a little bit of glue in there as well, which will make for a better fit, better connection. So yeah, so that's it for the Reaper. Just add them to the base now, and I think we're done. Okay guys, so there's Moebius Models Grim Reaper build finished. I hope you enjoyed this one. I have had a blast making this. I can't recommend this kit highly enough. The highlight for this myself, for this build, I really love finding the lantern from the witch model and converting it into this piece. I really feel like that lantern really makes this piece stand out a little bit more. So yes, so if you like these videos, please smash that like button, and don't forget to share on Facebook and Twitter, because it helps new people find my channel, which I'm always appreciative of. Thank you very much. If you have any comments, comment in the section below. Please show your support. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on other model kit builds or statue reviews or model kit unboxing videos. Basically all the cool stuff life has to offer. So smash that like button and see you next time. Thank you very much and goodbye.